Yeah. When I think about why I was compelled to put up all the videos that I started, was just compelled one morning to start putting them up. I would not have been putting any of those videos up if the security encryption levels were not approved, if you will. In other words, I would not have been doing that. I would not have been releasing that information by virtue of the speed at which we're learning, particularly when I don't experience any pressure waves. Okay, so we can translate that, yeah. The silver and gold mated Rouchet and the sensing speed of gold, what we feel. And so a mortal body is simply explained as operates solely in the data field, the data-driven. A mortal body is a dead-like AI, if you will, artificial light. Mental body operates solely in the mental field. Okay, so it's all data-driven. It's not feeling-driven. Okay. So I knew this as a child, and I feel this right now, right? Which is our sensing calibration. Calibration, like calibers, right? Calibration levels. The speed, our sensing speed. The gold speed, the silver and gold speed, join as one. Tethered to an eternal sun, tethered to an eternal silver and gold mated grand creator sun, the eternal still point, the core CPU, the crystal core. Yeah. And how that relates to realignment, which is spiritual, structural, engineering, integration, which is integrity. Right? So I know this through my own personal experiences when I was a child. I'm on fire to learn more about what I'm experiencing by virtue of my creative power. My dad and I used to have a lot of fun with this because my dad was extremely creative. Well, if we can't, it's like if you built yourself a prison, like the R complex prison. So we know what the R complex prison is, like complex number space, prime numbers, repeating patterns of sound and light, burn patterns, expecting a different result. And chapter 5 in Big Book about Now does a beautiful job of describing how Shakespeare operates a stage actors, roles that we all play. Just like when I was in a classroom. What do you want to be when you grow up? It's like, well, what do you want to become? What do you want to become? So I know how that's directly related to CQ, not IQ. That's why I spent so much time in those sectors, right? In the learning community, right? Looking at all the data, what they were finding out, how machines learn, how computers learn through each other, and what that means to machines programming other machines, languages, codes, radio frequency of communication, how neurons communicate to other neurons. How fast are you learning? What's going on over in your neck of the woods? So news travels fast between one matrix and another, particularly if it falls. How long is it going to take for those neural transmissions? I got the comm. Oh, no. Yeah, and how that relates to quarantine status, like in static. And residual flow, the inflow and the return flow, the speed, the transmission, like transmission fluid, right? Like putting oil in your vehicle. Grease lightning as we grease the skids. So yeah, a mortal body is a mental body, right? So that's pretty simple. So it doesn't have any core, echo core, eternal spirit, cosmic level fire, manifest into the field what we experience at the exact moment of now time, no time. Wow, I'm experiencing what I am in my own mirror, which is what love is. It goes on forever. And how that is directly tied to 300. Your creative quotient, 300. Okay. So I know this through experience. The highest level of intelligence is driven by the creative quotient, not by the IQ. That was a message from my father when I was about 7 years of age. Now we're into the superhuman, artificial intelligence augmentation. Those programs are being held captive to that technology, which is known as blank slate. Right? Just like when you buy yourself a desktop PC, right? Just like what happened with my phone, right? When I got a redirect, I was headed in one direction. Nope, that's not where you want to be. You want to be someplace else. So I get comms just like that. It's called a course direction, navigational, navigating through the stars. And so I jumped on with a guy who towed the vehicle back to a yard in Palmdale, California, not far from Edwards Air Force Base. And my dad worked out there in the 1950s. And so how this related to when I finally got to the Union Station in the City of Demons. It's not the City of Angels, City of Demons. That's what, remember, what it says is not what it really means. It has the opposite meaning. Angels and demons, Dungeons and Dragons, right? Dragon lines, lines of communication between, if you will, the seed and the grower. Joined as one to experience being one with the silver gold minted one. And so when I got to the Union Station, getting ready to go to LA Airport with a ticket, right? My phone wouldn't start. And yet I was just using the phone on the Amtrak train that went from Palmdale to Union Station in LA. I was on the phone. And then I turned it off when I went inside to get something to drink. And then I went to use it a few minutes later and it wouldn't boot. And the only way that it would boot up again is to do a factory wipe. Oh, we're going to go back to the factory settings. Yeah.